positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. You have now tuned in to the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. Back at it like we supposed to be.
Yep.
Getting to it.
What is it my boy says? Positive energy and good vibrations from me to you.
Facts, kid. You want to believe it. Welcome to another dope edition of the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. I'm your boy RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and
I'm your boy JP, the Imperfect Husband.
And as you know, this is another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. I hope everybody out there is having a phenomenal day, phenomenal life. Hope you're in good spirits, bro, because we definitely are, man. How you been this week?
Doing great, brother. Doing great.
What's
Another blessed week. It was a blessed day.
You enjoyed your week of enjoying and celebrating the mothers, man?
Yeah, we did. I know you did.
Did I ever? Yo, man.
I was avoiding that Instagram all week.
Yo, just
all
for
the heat was for you and you alone.
Yo, listen, but you know they was coming for you at the crossfire. Somebody gonna aim at you at some point. Yo, and anybody who don't know, man. Well, before we get into that, let's give a belated shout out to our mothers, man. Happy belated Mother's Day to all you phenomenal mothers out there. And as for the people who've seen the post, it was for a reason. And so the post that we're talking about is a post that I made prior to Mother's Day that said that we should be celebrating all single fathers on Mother's Day. And let me tell y'all had a lot to say about that. A lot. And honestly, I'm grateful because I did it with the intentions on stirring the ruckus. I did. I purposely did that, and I actually waited. You don't know how long I waited to do that. I waited almost a year and a half to do that because I missed it last year on Mother's Day. But this year, I knew I specifically wanted to do it. And what I did was, for anyone who didn't catch it, I said that this is a great time to celebrate single fathers. And the pushback, it was crazy. And some was flat out disrespectful. And for the ones that I did get back at, I told you, I'm going to match your energy. So be respectful. But for the people who didn't catch it, like I said, I told fathers that they should be celebrated on Mother's Day only because about 2 years ago on Father's Day, it was a big uproar of single mothers saying that they should be celebrated on Father's Day. And I'm an individual who celebrates and loves on mothers, like as we all do. Like I love my mother like endlessly. I love my grandmother. Any woman that's put their life on the line to bring another life into this world, they deserve to be celebrated, not only on Mother's Day, but every day. But obviously, we give love on Mother's Day on that specific day because we want to let it be known on that one day. And they should be celebrated on that one day, and no one else should be celebrated on that day. But the same way as on Father's Day, women should not be celebrated on Father's Day. And I've learned something, Jose, in my field of teaching and helping men become better, also being a father, that if you want to teach a lesson, a lot of times you're going to have to tell them in a way in which it resonates to them.
Of course.
And the only way I got this message across this year was that I had to make the women see how crazy it sounded for me to say a man should be celebrated on their day, regardless if he's a single father or not. It sounded ridiculous, and it caused a stir because it should have. And I'm glad it did that because it proved a valid point. No one should be trying to take anyone else's shine, their light or their shine, just because of something that their life presented to them.
Yeah, it's something that the system has done to devalue man's position in the household, to make our society believe that the man isn't needed in the household, and it has caused drastic events. It has caused much harm within the family nucleus.
Yes.
And we need to be able to understand each position and respect each position within the household, and understand that as valuable as a woman is, and we all know where her value stands, we should also be valued.
Absolutely. And you know what's so crazy about that, Jose? Like, And a lot of the backlash I got was from women, which was rightfully so. I expected that. But bro, it surprised me of how many men were so fast to call me out of my name because I did this. It was kind of disturbing because I was like, wow, I get that you're kind of upset what I'm saying, and it does seem a little off, but you're willing to call a man out of his name, which you don't know him. You're willing to call him out of his name and degrade him because he made a statement. You really don't know what the truth behind the statement is. So it just baffled me, and it also told me to myself that there's a lot of level of maturity that most men need to go through, because if you're willing to call another man out of his name and you don't know much about him, that speaks about your character.
Oh, definitely. And also it shows what type of trauma he must have within himself.
Correct.
From his upbringing or whatever the case. Who knows? He was probably raised with a single mother, and that touched him in the wrong place. So,
and I've been there, and I'm gonna be real transparent with this, because shout out to Kevin Samuels. I know that people who know me and know that history between me and Kevin Samuels, it's probably like, oh my God, you're saying that? But yes, I had to go back and retract my statements, because I was triggered one time when I first met up and heard of his content, because he was speaking on single mothers. And because I came from a single mother background, I was triggered in a way. So everything he said after that statement to me was completely off kilter. But once I got past the emotional part, which is a process, I then began to hear what he's saying, hear his message, and realize, this man is literally trying to help us men. That's all he's trying to do. So in his demise and him leaving this earth is like, man, I wish I had opportunity to go be able to say, you know what? You didn't meet me. I didn't meet you, but I apologize for taking your message or that clip the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's that guidance, right? That guidance that we seek for as men in God, right? We want to follow His image. We want to follow His strength and leadership, and bring that into the household, and be able to give each individual person within our household that strength and that position on that pedestal that they belong on, right? And it all comes with for our kids, it comes with how you're raising them, the structure you're giving them, so that one day, once they leave the nest, they're people of greatness in society.
Absolutely.
They go out there and do nothing but great things, right?
Absolutely.
And during the same time, being able to hold your wife in that position, that altar, that you can say, this is my wife and can nobody disrespect her because I've placed her here.
Yes. Speaking, you said God, so I don't want to do what we did last week. I had to wait till the end of the episode to say the prayer. So as you see, big fella, I do get better with time. I am a fine wine. So as you guys see last week, we had a mistake, and I waited till at end of the episode to pray. So didn't want to do that this week. So this week we're gonna make sure we give God His due praise and His due time. So with that being said, gracious and eternal Father, thank you for another opportunity to be great. Thank you for an opportunity just to be before your people. Right now, God, we ask you to continue to be who you are to us. Continue to motivate us. Continue to strengthen us. Continue to be the provider that you are to us, so we can be the providers that we are to our families. We ask you to continue to reach out and watch over our audience, God. Help them, prepare them, and move them as you may do, and be God in their life as you are in ours. And these prayers we ask in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Bro, so as I was sitting here and I was also in that prayer, I thought of this, and I think this is a great time to speak about this, because you said something about the children earlier, and I just seen something on Instagram a few days ago that's kind of like that really broke my spirit down a little bit. There was a teacher that was fired recently because he went live and he had some students taking his hair out. I don't know if you've seen it.
Taking his hair out?
Yeah, like he has braids, and some of the students were just taking his hair out for him. You know what I'm saying? They had finished the class lesson and they had extra time and all that. And the reason he was doing this is because he had to get his hair done that evening, and he was like, you know what? I didn't get a chance to take my hair out. Some of the girls are actually in school or are in school for hair. Why not? And the world went into an uproar. The sensitivity that we're in right now and the state that we're in right now, they went to a complete uproar, and this man lost his job. It broke my heart because I know how much children need teachers like him. See, people are looking at that video and then looking at the situation, and they're looking at it through their perverted eyes, bro. They're looking at this situation through their own nonsense, in which their own insecurities that they have not dealt with yet. Because when any individual who sees that video, a whole individual sees that video and sees what the children are doing, how they see, just how they respond to that man, his demeanor. They're not googly-eyed. They're not drooling over him. It's like you can see that this man's demeanor is they comfortable around him, they're safe with him, and they understand him, and he understands them. And for me as an individual who did not get along with all my teachers, who did not have a good bond with all of my teachers, but the ones that I did made a real impact in my life, and to see the videos of him later on crying, reading letters from his students, talking about how much they miss him when he comes back, what's going to happen, and to know that, and some of the parents are crying behind this.
Yeah, I can see both sides on the coin on this one.
Yeah, me too.
Because we do live in a perverted society.
Yes.
Right. And as protector of our children, we must be able to see the full spectrum.
Absolutely.
And envision what can occur. Right. Because we don't want to live in a what if. Right.
Very true.
We live in a very scary society. So I can see both sides. We just going to the point that you made, we live in a society that is so so controlled, so filtered on what can and can't be done, and even the smallest things will be converted into something that could have probably been non-existent, right? But there is a very fine line in that situation.
And where the line for me was drawn is that as a man, as a black man,
he should have known
the climate we're in. Because see, I'm not going to put on him he should have known better not to do this, because that's not this is not wrong.
He should have known the society that we're living in.
Right. And the one slap on the wrist I would have given him as a man, as a coach, as an individual to come to help him would be,
you should have thought.
You got to know the temperature that the world is in.
You should have thought about it before making that.
Because the behavior itself, you've done it millions of times over, and I can tell this from watching the video. That has happened multiple times, and these children accept you that way, and the people inside of your community have no problem with that. But what you didn't take account for was that everyone doesn't see life the way you see it, and you're gonna have backlash behind this.
Yeah, and all it really takes is one individual to not like you. One. It could whether a teacher or a student. Let's say you had an encounter with one student, and they weren't happy with what you presented to them, right? Let's say you failed them because they didn't study.
Right.
Something that simple. You failed them because they didn't study, and they deserve to fail that exam.
Right.
That child is scorned. You have young girls in your classroom that are helping you with your braid. That child records it, sends it to their parent.
Whole other world starts.
Everything opens up. The can of worms opened up at that moment. So it's a trickle effect. It's a course of actions that led to this, right? Where did it come from? How did it source? Because if they felt that comfortable, if he felt that comfortable with it happening X amount of times, now also we must look at him and say, wait, I understand you as a teacher, your duty is to have these kids respect you, love you, and for you to leave a stamp in their life so that they can be somebody different in the future. But here comes the other side of the coin. How comfortable can you get to have this happen continuously, right? Yeah. I understand one day you had an emergency, it happened that moment, but if it's happened multiple times, okay, now it's getting to that point of wait.
Well, see, Jose, but in a sense, I see what you're saying, but I've also been on the other side to where it's, all right, put it like this. Those girls that are going to school for hair, cosmetology, what would be the difference if they were doing this in the design room, right? Where he would go into the room, because I myself, when I had my dentist, when I was getting my teeth done, I went to in college room, and students did my teeth when I was in school. So if he was to go into the room where they're doing the hair at, would he be wrong then?
No. What makes it inappropriate is that it was done in a classroom. Classroom is for education. Beauty room is for beauty room. See, that's where I would create the separation, right? Me, as a protector of my child, of my daughter, right? When my daughter was born, I made a promise to make sure that I can protect you to the last breath of my soul.
Absolutely.
If I allow my child to fall into those actions, right? Let's say, okay, I feel comfortable with the teacher. I feel comfortable with my daughter pulling out his braids, right? How do I know that that is not going to lead into something else?
That's a good question to ask. But then my point is, the sincerity in which that man behaved in, he already interacted with these parents. See, my child is not allowed to go anywhere in which I don't meet the person they're dealing with and be able to look them eye to eye. For instance, my wife, during the pandemic, I don't know if I told you this story. My daughter went to a new school. And during the pandemic, obviously, they had new protocols and all these things where the parents couldn't go in the classroom. We couldn't meet the teacher and all these things. So the wife went to take my daughter to school, and she said, I'll come back and we'll get ready. We take care of business in about an hour. She came back in 15 minutes. I was still undressed. What are you doing here? You'll be back in an hour. Oh, they took Imani and she went to class. Mm-hmm. You let her go into a school building where you didn't see the teacher or the building? Oh, well, you know the protocol. Cool. Walmart has a protocol, Sears, Macy's, everybody else, but so do I. And my protocol will be respected when it comes down to my child. Long story short, went there, told him, I get what you have going on, but I need to see this person. I need to see, at least look her in the eye, who's going to be with my child all day long. Because, bro, you know, like I know, when you look into a person's eyes, you can see their soul. Yeah. You can see what they're about. And obviously, we can't say that we can see and know all. But for the most part, you can tell who you're dealing with in that moment when you look him in the eyes.
You know where the biggest issue comes when it comes to the protection of your child? That most of the I don't want to use the word rape, but most of the molestations come from people that you trust.
Or the essay. That's how they say on YouTube, they say SA, so we can't get in trouble.
SA.
Yeah. SA.
Okay. So,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So most of the SAs.
right.
Most of the essays come from people you trust.
Right. Exactly.
As a parent, right? You allowed your child to be babysat by somebody who you thought was of confidence. You probably really didn't know this person, and the biggest fear is that, not the biggest fear, but the biggest issue is that most of those people that do end up doing that are people that are like cousins, uncles,
the relatives, the
closest relatives, the ones that you would never suspect it of.
Yeah, I thought that wasn't a thing, bro, until like my mother was so gung ho when I was a kid about not letting me slip over my cousins' houses and not letting me go to different places, but I didn't know all the stuff I obviously know now about SA and things happening in different family members and that kind of stuff, because my family has a plethora of that nonsense inside of it. So I get that point. And that's something that's obviously that you would have to hold on to. But in this one case, bro, and I'm not saying that obviously I know all and I can look at this man and tell he's a great guy, but my soul, when I looked at this man, bro, like my heart of hearts. And if he was to burn me, I would have to take this one. But in that video, bro, I watched it over and over and I still don't see the violation other than the fact that he went live with it.
You know where you can take it to, why you have to be very, very cautious with situations like that, right? Growing up, who is the person that you're taught to trust the most?
Your parents.
Your parents.
Teachers.
Besides your parents and your teacher, you have the priest.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah. I see you.
You understand?
I see
so
Absolutely.
Those are the fears. Yeah. Those are the fears. So if one of the individuals that your parents look up to the most, which is the priest of your church,
right?
You hear of things of that nature occurring, then who can you trust? So if that doesn't make you fearful of what can occur to your child, then we're extremely naive, too naive, and we need to revalue what it is that's important.
Oh, and so check this out too. So let's just say, for this video's sake, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was multiple. He was in a classroom full of children. Now I could see if he was in the classroom, it was just him and another girl.
Yeah,
him and two other girls.
Listen, I see your point, and I completely understand it, but I also have to see the other side, and it's mostly because I have a 13-year-old daughter.
But see, Jose, I'm about to go there to you because remember, my hair was just long a little while ago because I was about to bring this to you. What would be the difference between me sitting right here in your home, right in the chair right there, and allowing your daughter to untake my hair and then braid my hair?
But she wouldn't. She wouldn't.
No?
No, she wouldn't, because of what she's been taught. She wouldn't.
But even if she was going into the field of hair?
In that case, she would. But there's a place and there's a place and a time for everything.
Right.
Right. If this is what you're doing, if you're going towards the route of cosmetology and hair and this, that, and the third, then when you are at the point of practicing for that, then there's a supervised area. You're not doing it alone. Somebody who's teaching you needs to be there because they need to guide you in what you're doing. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So there's a place and time for everything. You come here as my brother.
Right.
Right? You come to the house. My daughter won't come to you and say, "Hey, let me do your hair."
No.
Because she's been taught that there's limits up to where she can go.
Right.
If you pass this, then expect the reaction from your dad.
Correct.
Expect the reaction from your mom.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What kids do outside of your house is the complete opposite of what you teach them here. And that's where you need to be afraid.
Absolutely.
Because that's when you have the influences that are put into place, and most of the time they just don't know how to deal with what might come with them causing a rejection, right? Let's say you as the teacher tell my child, "Hey, take my braids out." Depending on what environment is going on, will depend on what she will say.
Right.
Right? Because if there's a whole bunch of friends, just so that she doesn't look bad in front of her friends, let's say the rest of her friends, one of the friends, it has a little baby crush on the teacher and they're all over the teacher. She's probably not going to say no.
Right.
Because it's within her friends.
Right.
Now,
comfortability of the friend circle.
Now, as a man, especially a child that's not that you don't consider your child, or your niece or somebody that you love that you will never harm,
Right.
this child starts touching you. This child is now in the blossoming stage, and she's starting to look more like a young lady,
Right.
and she's touching your hair. That's going to cause some sort of arousement,
Right.
or can cause some sort of arousement.
Absolutely.
And that's the fear.
Right.
That's the fear. That's what we need to keep our vision on, so that things don't get to that point.
Right. But see, and wholeheartedly do I understand, and I'm with you on that. But like, I don't know how comfortable I would have been if that was my daughter on the video. But at the same token, in which it was happening in that video, I wouldn't have had a concern about that video, but I would have confronted the teacher, because I would say, yo, how often does this happen? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
And then I would question, like, what kind of environment is in the classroom, what kind of energy, I would then get a little bit more involved, right? But just from the optics of this, right? The viewpoint we have of it. If my daughter was in it, I would question just the protection factor of it all. But once I spoke to my children, spoke to the kids, other teachers, the other parents, I would then say to myself, this is who he is.
Yeah.
Because I then go back to my childhood about the teachers who made a phenomenal impact in my life. Yo, a teacher would literally walk me home and taught me about how much I was worth as a man, as a boy.
We used to have those back in the day.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, I can't tell this teacher, this young man, that what he's doing is wrong, because the effect that he's making on these kids' lives is visible. He went on there.
Does he have that same relationship with the boys in the classroom?
Good question.
Because that would also play a factor.
Yeah.
Now,
and in the video, they were there. They were there.
If his relationship is predominantly with the girls in the classroom,
I would say that's a problem.
There's more that needs to be looked at. I'm going to play the devil's advocate to what you're saying, because I completely understand you. And if it was my child, I would feel uncomfortable.
Right.
I would feel uncomfortable. And depending who the teacher is, will depend how comfortable I feel or not. Because I have relationships with teachers that I feel that they're very, that their love for my children is very heartfelt.
Yes.
Is very heartfelt. And I understand.
Right.
Right. But let's say, devil's advocate, after you decided, you know what, this teacher is enough harm, or this individual, and let's not just say teachers, because it could be any individual.
Right.
This individual is enough harm. I'm going to trust this individual, and I'll allow this to happen. Then 10 years down the line, your child comes to you and says, X, Y, and Z molested me, and you allowed it to happen.
That's disturbing. That would crush. But see, for that note, this is why you speak to your children day to day. This is why you're involved in them day to day, to the point where, like, it's sickening. And the reason I say this is because I lived through it. My mother was like, you know how you walk in the house and how was your day today? It was good, Mom. That was never enough.
Yeah.
I had to tell her about my day.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing right now, because if something like that transpires in your child's day, you have to have some kind of wherewithal to see past and not saying it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because that's a traumatizing event. There is no way, if you're involved in your child's life, can you bypass that? Can you miss signs of that? There's no way.
You can. You know why? Because when they get to the beginning of their teenage years, that change looks very similar to the change that they would have if something of that magnitude was to occur. They start shelling into themselves. They isolate themselves into their room. All they want to do is be on their phone, on their computer. They don't want to talk to anybody but themselves and their friends from school. So those two situations look very similar. So if that was the case, and if you would feel that that's what's occurring. And they've isolated themselves just because they're going through so much and their mind is all over the place. They're not old enough to be adults, but they're not young enough to be kids. They're extremely confused. Their hormones are going crazy. Mm-hmm. But you start thinking that the reason they're acting like that is because they've been essayed. Now you're going to push your child into trying to figure out what that is. You get what I'm saying? And allowing things to happen that probably would have not happened if the push would have not been there as hard, because now, oh, you're not talking to me. Oh, you're not saying this. You're not. Why aren't you talking to me?
But
we need to talk.
But on that note, like when the harshness of approach, it's about understanding who your child is. Like, there's some way you could talk to Junior that you can't talk to Celine.
No, definitely.
So as parents and individuals who's created these beings, and this is why I'm so big on paying attention to your children's even breathing patterns. Like, I pride myself on knowing what cries sound like with my children. I need to know down to the most minute things, because to your point, there are going to be things where they're not going to be able to talk to us about. And to my case, growing up, my children, like, they were speech delayed growing up. So I had to be a little bit more intrinsic of how I listened to them, of the sounds they made, what noise, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
You understand? Because now I need to learn you on a deeper level, because you can't tell me what's going on with you.
Yeah.
And even to that point, it's like, my daughter's right now, she's 7. She's going through her little changes as well. And she said to me, Daddy, I don't want to talk to JoJo right now. And I was like, it's okay not to want to talk, and you can have your space, but you got to understand that's only a little while. You can't go into a shell, because that's not what we do in this home. Because I think that when we as parents allow our children to do that thing, that little go into their shell, and we don't go after them and to find out what's going on in that shell, is when these things begin to happen. They start talking to themselves. They start rationalizing things in their own mind, bouncing ideas off their own heads, inside of the confusion and the hormones, to where it's like, how could they spell these things to you? How could they tell you these things? And that's why it's our job to say, you know what, something's not right with you.
But it is going to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's going to happen. And now in age, it's going to happen even more than it would have happened back in our day.
Yes.
Why?
Technology.
Because of the technology.
Right.
Now they don't need to come to us to ask us for a question.
They got ChatGPT.
No matter, they have ChatGPT. No matter how much.
Tell me about that. Got the chat, baby.
No matter how much you build that relationship with your child, there are going to be things that they are not going to come to you because they don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And it takes time for them to, once they get to those teenage years, right?
That's when with them.
Because it's a different type of confidence, right? You have their confidence when they're children. They talk to you about everything. Yeah. Then they get it's a night and day change. I tell you out of experience, it's a night and day change. Right now, they're one day and they're one person, and tomorrow
somebody told you
there's somebody completely
who the
different.
hell are you? You
completely different.
My son last night. I don't know who the hell you are today.
The change is so fast and drastic that if you were someone who was extremely tight with your children and you thought that you had given them all the tools so that they can always come to you, you will fall into a dark place when that change occurs. Yeah. Why? Because now you feel that you've failed as a parent, right? Not understanding that you were also once that age and you did the same exact thing to your parents.
Yes.
So at that point is when we need to step back and rationalize and think about how we were when we were their age.
And that's why, Jose, for real, this bothers me so much, because yes, there are essays in the world. You know what I'm saying? And I don't get me wrong, and I'm so grateful for you playing devil's advocate, because it's important for us to see these two parts. But just coming from where I've come from and being impacted the way I was impacted by certain teachers and certain people in my life, is like, if we take the tools that these people use to impact the kids away, we're hurting our children. We're not just hurting. Because at the end of the day, this man is not hurting for money. It's $50,000 a year these teachers is making, bro. That's not no money at all. Trust that. He can go to Walmart or somewhere else and get the same amount of money.
It's McDonald's.
Word. Or and get paid more.
Yep.
For throwing burgers around.
Yep.
So he's not doing this for the money. And this is why I told you, this is why it bothered me so much, because we talked about this a few weeks ago. The kids don't need a teacher that's looking for a paycheck. They need a teacher that cares about our tomorrow. And this man, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But this man seems to me, as my own opinion, as a man who cares about these kids tomorrow. And it wasn't just about the hair. Like I said, the one problem I had with it is, bro, you went live with it in this day and age. Because it's obviously that the parents, because they were writing letters, they didn't mind this. The parents knew this teacher. And this is what I'm on right now. Right now, we're in what? We're in April. School's almost over. You've met your children's teachers 14 times
April,
over.
Bro. Wow, you delayed, my brother. We're in May.
Wow. Yeah, my bad. May? Eesh. So look, we're close to the school year end, even closer, right? You've met your teachers umpteen times over.
I love the teachers in my kids' school. Love.
So now, check this.
And coming from a school that I despised.
Nicely said.
Within the deepest of my being.
Talk about it.
Listen.
We put you on the map if you wanted
to. Listen, in this school, I continuously went to this school because of things that my kids were going through. Not the school that they're in now. They're in Cad Davie.
Shout out.
In Davie, the town of Davie, the city of Davie. And I love Cad Davie. I love the teachers. I love the directors. I love everything about the school and how they deal with the kids. Mm-hmm. But my kids were previously in Millennium middle school. Mm. And it was the worst experience as a parent, having to see the things that my children went through. Me going to the school on a regular basis, telling them what was occurring. And if my kids retaliated, my kids got in trouble. My daughter would take herself out of chats that kids in the school would add her to just to bully her. And when I brought this up to the school, they said that there's nothing they can do about the kids' phones. That was their answer. When we went to the school to pull them out, to let them know that we changed them from schools, they had the audacity to ask, why are we taking them out?
Yes.
What the fuck you mean, why? If my kids would have been in that school this year, I would have been arrested. I would have been arrested. Because I was at the point that I was willing to smack the shit out of a kid.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. I ain't even gonna sit here and pretend like I'm any above that. Shout out to my little sister when we was younger. Like she's like 7 years younger than me. So I'm in like junior high. She's in elementary. So one day she come home from school. Somebody done hit her. So I'm like, where they at? Like let's go do that right now. So I'm grabbing her to bring her to school. My mother grabs me by my neck. She said, "Fool, you can't fight no child." I'm like, yo, ma, 8 to 80, you can get it. You understand me? You about the age 8, you can get it. Like, I don't care nothing about it.
Listen here.
And then like as a parent, it's like, listen, there's no, for mine, I go sit down with no problem.
Oh, yeah.
I've said that and I stand on that. For mine, I go lay down with no problem. I don't care the time. But in protecting our children, is like understanding if we're so prone to protect them, when will we let them live? Because in this case, I still have a hard time seeing the malicious in this. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the only slap on the wrist I have for this young man is, bro, you can't go live. You can't do that.
But then,
because the reason why I say that is because the wrong mouths get on this, bro.
Yeah, I I understand, but if you can't go live, then why do it?
Well, you can't say that because it's like there's many things that you can't go live.
If you can't do something while showing it to the world, then why put yourself in that situation? Why do it? Well, because goodness, you shouldn't be afraid.
But at the same time, right now, even this podcast can be construed differently, bro.
Listen, Jesus got crucified for the truth.
Yeah, and this man right here is being crucified for absolutely nothing.
What we need to do is, if he is willing to carry that cross because he knows he did nothing wrong, then he just needs the support. Talk your piece. Let it be known. Make yourself vocal. Let what you were trying to do be known. Because you know what? At the end of the day, you know what will never deviate, what will never move out the line? The truth.
Your intentions.
The truth. The truth is always going to overpower. The truth is always going to overshine. Even when the world is slapping you with nothing but malice.
Yeah. To that point, I definitely understand what you're saying. And I feel that 100%. And the only reason I said the slap on the wrist is because we know the temperature. And we can't even, for crying out loud, we can't even.
I just have to play devil's advocate.
No, but we need it right now.
Because it's something that's extremely delicate. We're at a time that you need to watch, even though I had to say essay.
But and that's what I'm saying, Jose. We're in this space right now where speech is not free, right?
And essay will probably I don't know. Whoever doesn't know, just Google it, I guess.
Nah, if you on YouTube, you know what essay mean. Yeah. Facts. Yeah. You know. And there's other words like corn. You can't say.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't say that on YouTube. So it's mad different words that
the R.
Yeah.
There's a lot of words out there that can't be said on YouTube.
Yeah. So
because you will get a strike.
Exactly. But it's so, and knowing that, right? And knowing that the sensitivity we're in, that's the word I'm looking for. The sensitivity we're in as a nation, as a world right now. That's the reason why I say that he shouldn't have done that. Because at the end of the day, myself, Jose, you know, that's how we met each other. Like, when I'm coaching your children, that's my child.
Yes.
That's mine. Like, if you're not around and someone is even getting anywhere near them, oh, great time for Am I the Only One?
Yeah.
So this week, I gotta pause this story. and no Diddy. So this week, me and my wife and kids were on the road. So you know, when you're driving for a few hours, the kids and the family, everybody's ready to get out of the car. And you get that one last task you gotta do before you go home. So for us, it's like, I gotta get cash for tomorrow. I need to go to the ATM. I said, all right, damn, I'm ready to go home. The kids are ready to go home. Let's just go to Publix. Stop there. This is our last stop. You know how fellas, you tell your wife this is our last stop because we done been through enough. I told her, baby, it's our last stop and we going home. No doubt. So she goes to the ATM and I pull over to the side. Now, this is the part of am I the only one? Am I the only one with the woman who's, for the lack of better words, just free spirit? When they operate, they just operate in the space of the spirit is free and nothing happens negative around them.
I'm gonna ask you a question, bro.
What's up?
On top of your question. Do you have a conversation with your wife before you do this? Am I the only one, so that she don't fuck you up when you get home?
Nah, see, I'm down for the smoke.
I see your face, bro. Yes, you do.
Nah, I'm down for the smoke. And let me tell you the truth, though.
He had the bed talk with her, the pillow talk.
She don't.
The day before, like, yo, baby.
Nah, she ain't. I'm gonna keep it real.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in this. Yo, baby. Tomorrow is gonna be a lit conversation. I'm letting you know tonight. I'm putting in the work tonight so that tomorrow
it's going down.
Baby, I love you. It's nothing personal.
Nah. Let me tell you what it. Let me tell you what it really is. She don't be checking the show that much. and when I'm editing the show, I fast forward some of the spots.
Since we're editing here now, yeah.
No, let me tell you. In all honesty, she be hearing it. She knows. But I need to know because, like, I know my wife was brought up in this space where, in Pleasantville, you know what I'm saying? She was raised in an area where things are beautiful.
Yeah.
The environment was controlled. It was nice.
I always tell my wife that she grew up in a bubble.
And this is, so I'm not the only one. Thank you very much. Gotcha. I banged him on that one. I got him on that one.
I always tell her she grew up in a bubble.
So this week, right, I'm in the car and I got both kids in the back seat and this gentleman is going, talking to other women and he's approaching them very aggressively, asking for money. So the one woman he approached, I seen, she's like, no, I don't have any money. And he's still behind her, but I need. And she's like, sir, leave me alone. So I'm like, if you don't stop, sir, I'm going to have to say something to you. Like, this is a woman that's trying to go mind her business. And now I'm just watching that. My wife is at the ATM on this side of the car and he's on this side walking past. So he walks past my vision. So I'm saying to myself, now, if I see him in my rearview mirror, I'm going to watch the way he see where he's going to go. Obviously, he goes that way. And I look up, he's walking towards the ATM. And my wife is just head on at the ATM, not looking around, just focus on what she's doing. And Imani's talking to me and instantaneously, like, Imani, be quiet, I got to go. I get out of the car, and as he's about to approach her, I said, my man, don't do that. Just don't do that. Oh, what? I said, leave her alone. Who are you? That's none of your business. I'm just telling you, leave her alone. Oh, I gotta listen to you. Yes, you do, because that belongs to me. She belongs to me. If you violate her, if you bother her, I'm going to do something drastic out here. Now, I'm the same, the tone of voice I'm having right now is the same tone I'm having with him because I don't want to make a scene.
Yeah.
But it gets loud. Oh, what are you going to do? My guy, listen. Only thing I'm telling you is that leave her alone. You really should leave all these women alone out here and go about your business. But I'm just telling you, I can't control you with other women. I'm going to tell you this one, though, I can definitely control. But if you even come anywhere near her, I'm going to do you dirty out here in these streets. So at this point, the Publix guy comes outside. Not even security. The guy from Publix comes outside and goes, somebody's going to kill you about their wife, bro. I done told you, leave these women alone. So I said, bro, this man is trying to save your life. He just told you the same thing I told you. And we're talking to you. There's going to be some other dude who's not going to talk to you, bro.
Yep.
Go about your business. So then he says something to the point of, well, ain't nobody scared of you. I said, you know what? I'm glad you said that. Let's go in the back of Publix. Let's just go to the back. Let's go talk about this two men now. Because now you want to make a scene. And if you want to fight, we can go definitely do that. So now my wife, of course, is, baby, no, let's get in the car. So I'm like, no, sweetheart. Like, I don't mind touching him right now. Here's my phones. Now my wife she's starting a little worried now. She's like, babe. And she gave me this look. I said, babe, the gun's in the car. It's not even on me. Why did I say the word gun? Oh boy, took off running. I said, where you going? Like, I wasn't. So the reason I brought that up, am I the only one that has a woman that really believes that life is harmless and they just live in the bubble, as you said?
The other day we're in Walmart, getting my mother-in-law some cigarettes, and looking for another device that I needed, and we're paying. No, this before we started paying, there was somebody in front of us. We're about to pay. There's three people behind us. There's a young lady that's right behind me. There's a Native American right behind her. And then there's a African American lady right behind her. I don't know what occurred between the Native American and the African American lady, but she told him, go back to your fucking country. My wife does not know anything of what's going on. So now I forgot that we were about to pay. Mm-hmm. My stuff is on the belt in Walmart. And I forgot that we're about to pay because now I'm paying attention to what's going on right behind us because I got my children and my wife with me.
Right.
So if anything pops off, I need to be
on point.
Point. So while they're arguing, she says to him, go the fuck back to your country. He says to her, go back to my country. go back to my country. This is my country. You guys stole it from us.
History lesson.
So now I look over to my wife and she's looking at me like I'm dumb. Like, why am I not moving? And I'm like, yo, bro.
You don't see this.
Move over.
Right.
Just move over.
Right.
Because you don't see what's going on right now.
Right.
And now I'm aggravated because I'm like, I'm trying
fully
to
aware, right? I'm fully aware what
we have
potentially can happen right now.
Protect my family because I don't know what the fuck is about to pop off. Because he's literally right behind us. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting my wife telling me, why are you taking so long? It's time to pay. I'm not the only one. So I move over, I pay, and I start walking, and I said, babe, did you not see what just happened? What happened? Mm-hmm. What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
So you didn't hear the lady tell the man to go back to his country, and him telling her, what country? You stole this from us. You didn't hear any of that, and the arguments and the back and forth.
None of it. She heard.
And all the cussing.
None of it she heard.
No, I didn't even notice. So basically,
yeah,
it would have got crazy,
and you'd have just been a bystander, harm's way. And this.
Luckily, I love my wife.
But see, this is why I say the sacrifice in which we're prepared to make is the reason why we're always on point. Yo, if the truth be told, Jose, do you want to die?
No.
No man wants to die,
no.
But we're willing to sacrifice the one thing that we can't get back, which is our lives, is for the protection of our families.
I saw a short where this gentleman walked around asking women first, mm-hmm. if someone came with a gun and they were about to shoot at your husband, would you jump in front of the bullet?
Hell no.
What would you do? If they were about to shoot at you two, what would you do?
Yeah.
I'd run. Every single woman. I'd run. Oh, hell no, I'm not getting in front of the bullet. I'd run. Yeah. Then they went towards the men. If you and your wife were together and somebody came with a gun towards you, what would you do?
Stand in front of her.
I would jump in front of her.
Every time.
I would take the bullet.
100 out of 100 times.
I would die for her. That was the response from every man that they asked.
And this is why, Jose, I say to men, especially the young men that come from me for counseling and coaching and confidence, I say to them this, because this is my standard of life. If a woman does not want your authority, she does not want your provision, nor your protection. Period. I don't care what goes on outside of that statement, because you're laying down your life potentially so she can live. There's nothing else that trumps that. And this is why I don't even listen to nonsense about women speaking about, if a man doesn't do X, Y, Z, this man is designed naturally to give up his existence for you. And like I said, no one wants to do it. Let's be real, man. I just asked Jose the same question. None of us want to die, but we are willing to do that for the woman we lay with. That right there in itself deserves respect. It deserves honor. Because if I'm willing to lay my life down for you, just for your protection, I won't even be here no more just so you can live. And I don't deserve respect? Something's wrong there. Something's very wrong. And that's why, shout out to my wife, and y'all might feel how y'all might feel because I'm always bringing up, am I the only ones? But because of my wife was who she is, I had a hard time understanding some of the plights that most men have in the world because I don't deal with 99.9% of the stuff that they deal with. So after coaching most men...
You've been spoiled.
What?
You've been spoiled.
I mean, completely, bro, to the point where I have to go and tell my wife, I love you after coaching some men because I didn't know that this is possible for them to go through. Yo, people thought I was a simp and just simping back in the day when I first started because I'm like, yo, women ain't doing that. Women ain't possibly doing this stuff you guys are talking about. And then I Then I met the wives and spoke to some of them, and I said to myself, dear God, dear God, because I didn't know. So I'm always clowning my wife, and she knows it. And I'm always doing am I the only ones? But trust me when I tell y'all, happiest men on the earth is a competition between me and Jose and every other husband in the world, because I truly believe I got the best one out.
You ain't beating me.
I like that.
You ain't beating me.
So as a matter of fact, we always do that. Am I the only one? But do you believe your wife is better than my wife? I believe my wife is better than yours. Put it down in the comment though. Let's start that debate. Is my wife better than yours? Because I know mine is better than yours. I'm gonna put down the debate. How you feel about that?
Mine is the best.
I thought about it.
Top.
Top to bottom.
Can't nobody
beat it.
That's it.
I love it. That's the energy we're supposed to have though. Because that's why we chose them.
Everybody else is
washed.
That's it. It's a wrap. Wife, you got it.
Love the energy. You're supposed to, man. Like that's, if you don't have that energy about your wife, you got the wrong one.
Yep.
Or you ain't got the energy about her, you got the wrong one. So we coming close to that mark, and we're doing good because we're at the mark, as a matter of fact. Right on point. Before we get up out of here, as usual, do you have any last words for the people? And as a matter of fact, we also hit a words to the children, because we did speak about the children this episode a lot. So if you got any words to the kids, drop some for them.
Nieces, nephews, my 2 kids, all of you, keep pushing. You're all great. You're all amazing. I hope you all did what you had to do for your mothers this past weekend. Make sure that they happy. Do what you got to do, playboy.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So my last words for this week was, if you did follow me on Instagram, you did see the message of last week. Understand it was just to get you guys to engage with the content, get you guys to understand the point. I don't care what your due diligence is, your daily jobs are. Nothing trumps your partners. That means women to men, men to women. We're running this race equally. Everyone's job is equally important. And on the days that it's time to celebrate that person, whether it be Mother's Day, Father's Day, celebrate that person wholeheartedly. Give of yourself from your heart, and don't do it with any kind of intentions to receive anything for it, because when you give out of love, you receive that same kind of love back. So to the point of me saying that fathers need to be celebrated on Mother's Day, it was just to get you guys uproared. It was just to get the content popping, and actually to bring you guys to this very point of the podcast. So I can tell you that I do appreciate each and every single mother. I'm a product of it. I was raised by a single mother who didn't give up. And in this moment to single mothers, thank you for not giving up. Thank you for being there for when you were stressed, for all the sad and lonely nights, the hard nights, the disappointed nights, for all the trauma that you felt, for all the sacrifices that will never be brought to the light. Right now in this moment, I say thank you, because I'm a product of all the sacrifices that every single woman has ever done. So from me as a man, a product of a single mother, to all the mothers out there, happy belated Mother's Day, and keep doing what you're doing, and don't get tired. Because if you don't get tired, the next generation has a stronger hold on, and we can make it to see a better day tomorrow. So I appreciate y'all. Happy belated Mother's Day. And just for argument's sake, I'm sorry about the post. Okay? Just leave me alone. No more shots fired at your boy.
No, we not.
Nah, I'm not really sorry though. But anyway, you know how I got to move it out a little bit, Jose, just a little bit. But as always, though, and to the kids, Joe, Imani, and all my nieces and nephews that have not been born yet, don't allow what you did yesterday to take away from your future, because God didn't.
Yep.
God didn't cancel my future because of my past, and he won't do it to you. So repent, ask for forgiveness, don't do it again, and move forward in grace and love, and understand that because of God's grace and God's love, you have opportunity to get it right tomorrow. With that being said, we up out of here, man.
Yes, sir.
Dads, you know it. To the world, you're just a dad. And that's it. But to your family, you are their world. Don't you forget that. Operate in that. But until we see you guys in the podcast streets again, be good to yourself and the ones around you. And if you can't be good to the ones around you, that's all right. Just get those people from around you. Yo, it's RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and
JP, the Imperfect Husband.
And this has been another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. Y'all be blessed, because we will.
Peace.
Another one.
Yes, sir.
Ow!